Stages don't change people, stories do. The best lessons are forged, not fabricated. Here's the thing, guys. Dan Greer with Forge coming at you today to chat all about how when I hit the stage, it's never theory, it's real world stories, forged in the trenches, lessons anyone can use today. We're going to be talking all about what makes leadership land in the room and why stories matter more than slides do. Have y'all ever been in a presentation? Have you all ever sat through anything like that? What do you remember at the end of the presentation? What do you remember? Do you remember the slide? You might take us some pictures of the slides, but is that what you remember? Is the slide? Or do you remember the story or the way you felt as they talked about what was on that slide? One of the biggest things that I've learned is that on stage, theory doesn't stick, but real stories do. If I want to drive something home, if I want to drive a point home, if I want people to feel it, I have got to tie it to a story that teaches. Jesus taught with parables. Why aren't we teaching with stories too in everything that we do? So often, we don't teach with stories. We expect people to listen to us. We go up to them and we say, hey, the stove's hot. Or we say, don't touch the stove. And they go, why shouldn't I touch the stove? We don't say, hey, don't touch the stove. It's so hot, it's going to burn you the second you touch it. That fire is hot. That metal stays hot for a long time. You don't want to touch that for a while. Right? We don't tell them that. We don't tell them why. We just tell them what to do or what not to do. Okay. Whenever I get on stage and I go across stages across the nation right now, I'm on stages across the nation all the time. What I've really found and what really gets people to come find me afterwards is okay, let's face it. What I talk about isn't very sexy. DOT compliance is not something everybody gets up and they're like, ooh, I would learn about this, right? It's something that like they have to learn about and they need to learn about, but they're not excited about it most of the time, unless they're crazy like I am. But like, I have to find a way to dress it up and make it pretty, okay, so that people want to learn about it. And what I found is that when I get up there and I tell stories that connect with people authentically, that show that I'm not polished, that I'm not perfect, they'll come find me afterwards and say, hey, great presentation. And then they'll ask me more questions, which is what I want. Because here's the thing, when you got a group of 500 or 1,000 people, what happens? They all sit there and they're scared to talk because they don't want to look like an idiot from everybody else. They don't want to ask a dumb question. But when I get them by themselves, when I get them with 2 or 3 people, they'll come and they'll be like, hey, that sparked a question. Cool, fire away. And then I can answer the question. I can serve them. And sometimes I tell a story to answer their question, right? I had some people the other day, I was actually up doing a training for them, and they were like, man, why is this so important? And I told them, I said, yeah, you wouldn't believe this, but lawyers call me to ask me about DOT compliance stuff to help them win cases. And they'll put me and my company on retainer to help them win or to help them learn what they need to look for. And they're like, holy cow, I never would have thought about that. Yeah. Right? Like you've got to think about that for a second, because here's the thing is that they're looking for industry leaders, industry experts in what they're doing. And they know that I've proven myself worthy because of the stories that I tell and the background that I have. Leadership lessons from the trenches hit harder than any textbook lesson ever will. If you want to get somebody's attention, you have to make it relate to them and you have to have a story, okay? Now, every story needs to carry grit, the struggle, grease, the work, and grace, the growth. So when you tell a story in leadership and you're trying to make it hit, you need to make sure that you've got grit, grease, and grace in that story. The struggle, the work, and the growth that happened from it. My commitment when I step on stage is to get reality, not rehearsed jargon. I don't think I've ever done the same presentation twice. I watched somebody, a big name, take stage, and it was so rehearsed. It was lame. I learned more in a 5-minute podcast from somebody else I did from this famous person that they paid probably 6 figures to have in the room, right? The power of vulnerability and humor is huge when you're leading people and trying to get them to listen, all right? If you want to bring these lessons to your team or event, book me to speak at realdangreer.com and go to speaking. You can also check it out at Clips DOT. Don't forget to grab a copy of my book, Grit, Grease, and Grace at gritgreasegrace.com. All right. See you guys on the flip side. Later.